Hey divers, Alec Peirce Scuba, another tech tip. And this tech tip is one that really applies to everybody in scuba diving because I'm going to talk about fins. Yes, fins on your feet, you know. And every scuba diver uses fins, every snorkeler uses fins, every diver uses fins. So fins are a really, really important topic. Now, I've talked about fins before, and we talked about different types of fins, and split fins, and vented fins, and different types of shapes, all kinds of stuff there. But what I want to take is a moment today and talk about something very specific, and that is the performance of fins. And again, this is another issue that's come up because of your comments. Love them. Keep those comments coming. Just love them, and it gives me good ideas for these tech tips. It allows me to share some of my experiences. Very often, when I'm talking to a group of divers, somebody will say something, and I'll say, "Hey, I know a story about that." And somebody else in a few minutes will say something, and "Hey, I know a story about that." So the best way for me to share some of my experiences, stories, whatever it is to ask me things, talk to me about things. And then my mind, which is getting old, I'm 70 years old now, will go through the file and find a story about that particular thing. That's how this came about. Somebody was talking to me about performance of fins. And then somebody else mentioned about older fins, that they like the old rubber fins better than the new fins. And anyway, we got into quite a discussion about it. So let me share something about that. Okay, I have in my hands a very old fin. Now, this fin is not old. This fin is, we picked this up, I don't know when the store got it in, a couple months ago. But this fin style and material is very old. This is the Scuba Pro jet fin. And this is this jet fin. Somebody has told me this was made before the rocket fin. But in any event, the U.S. Diver's rocket fin, Aqualung U.S. Diver's rocket fin, and the Scuba Pro jet fin came out at about the same time, late 50s, early 60s. The fins before that I won't talk about. They were pretty special. I still have my fins from the late 50s. But these fins came out in the 60s, and these were good fins for the time. Remember, we're talking 60 years ago. So for the time, they were essentially the performance fin. There weren't many to choose from. So this was the hot fin, if you like, at that time. Now, please realize, let's call it let's say it's 1967. Okay, so 1967 is what is that, Kevin? Is that 40 years or 50 years?
50.
50 years ago. So we're talking now about a performance fin from 50 years ago. And I still have divers saying it's the best fin available today. I'm not sure if they say the same thing about their cell phone or their car or their motorcycle or their television and so on. 50 years. Have things changed or not? Yes, they have a great deal. Let's talk about these fins, and I'll share with you my thoughts on these fins. Great fins. Very heavy. I'm going to set this down now because my arms are getting tired. Yes, this fin weighs 5 pounds. I bet you it weighs the better part of 5 pounds. Maybe not 5, but close to it. It's quite heavy, very, very heavy, right off the bat. You wear 2 of them, that's 10 pounds. Now the difficulty is, unlike steel tanks and other things that we sometimes use underwater to give us more negativity, is that a word? Okay, to make us more negative, these fins don't make you more negative because they're made of rubber, which is a natural product, so in the water, they tend to lose their weight. Most of it anyway. So when you put these, even though they weigh say 10 pounds a pair, we'll say, put these both in the water, you might have a pound of actual weight in the water. So they don't add to your actual weight that you're wearing underwater. But they do add some problems. Before we get into that though, let's talk about the style. This is a fin. Straightforward. Pocket on the back, okay? Relatively flat on the bottom. Okay, not great, we'll talk about that. And a blade out here. Short blade, these weren't long blades. Neither the rocket fin nor the jet fin were long blades. But they did have one characteristic in common. They had vents, you see, holes. You see there the fins, there's a hole in the front, out the back. Now, I'm not too sure whose idea that was. A wonderful marketing idea for sure. In terms of technology, not so much. They didn't have the ability in those days to test a fin and to see what its underwater characteristics were like. They didn't have a flow chamber. They didn't have the ability to check the flow of water over these fins to see if these actually helped. Now I know they spent a whack of money. How much is a whack?
$2.
Okay, they spent a lot of money trying to convince divers that these vents were good. Oh yeah, marketing. But whether or not they were actually able to demonstrate, to prove that these vents aided in the performance is questionable. The premise was that when you fin down, your power stroke, you fin down like this, then the water is trapped in there and shoots out these vents at the back. Yeah, well, that's what you want, water shooting out the back. But isn't the whole blade supposed to do that? So why take some of the water and suck it out here, shoot it out above, instead of letting it go on at the end of the tip where you want, it's just a very, very difficult thing to prove. But we sold a lot of them. Oh boy, hundreds and thousands of these fins. And they're still sold today. Because some divers are convinced they're good. Some divers are convinced by their friends that they're good. Some divers, and I don't want to pick on tech divers, but there's some divers who are more into technical types of dives, caves and wrecks and deep dives and so on, who find that these are very good. And there's a fairly sizable portion of the diving community who still feels that these heavy black rubber fins from the 60s are the best fins to use. Okay, I'm going to put these to one side. Here's a modern fin. A modern fin, also made by Scuba, as it happens. They call this Jet Sport. Jet fin, Jet Sport. Same type of thing. Pocket, blade, more of a curve to it. The curve is good. I'll explain that in just a moment. More of a curve. And look, it's still got holes in it. Now these holes are different. These just go straight through. They're just holes. Okay, so these do not catch the water and jet it out the back, as he tried to explain with those ones. They're just holes in it. And again, why they put holes in a fin is beyond me. I have never heard, nor do I believe I will ever hear, a logical explanation as to why you put holes in a fin. So that some of the water you're trying to trap, this is your power stroke, coming down, you're trying to trap that water and shoot it off the tip of the fin to push you ahead. So put holes in it. It never made sense to me, but it is a nice fin. Now the nice thing about this is quite light, quite light. Both of these fins together wouldn't weigh 5 pounds. That is to say, both of these fins, this pair of fins, wouldn't weigh as much as that single fin. So there's a modern style of fin, very, very nice, okay? Here's another one. This is a very conventional fin, another company entirely, pretty conventional fin. Pocket, blade, solid blade all the way through. No holes in this one. They didn't take a drill and make a bunch of holes, which is stupid for me to say that, but it's no more stupid than molding holes in them. Anyway, I'm just sharing my opinions here. Okay, nice blade, tall ribs. I'll explain why that's good. They have little tips on them here. You see, it looks like a 737. 737 plane has little tips, and it has quite a curve to it. You see the curve? Quite a curve. I'll put that one up there as well. And then here's the next one. This is another big company, Sherwood. That was Atomic, Sherwood. Nice fin, pocket, all the same thing. Quite a curve to it. Nice pocket on it. Solid blade, longer than the old fins. Good rib on it. They have a couple holes in there too. I don't know, I guess it's good for carrying them. But anyway, and you notice how this one has some ribs in it. You see there? The theory here is that traps the water so that when you fin down, the water doesn't spill over the sides. Any water that spills over the sides is lost. You put effort in, the water went over the sides, but you're getting no push out of it. You see? Even worse than that, if water spills over the sides, it actually slows you down. It creates a current that actually drags you back a little bit. It's the same as the current behind a tractor transport or behind a bus. There's air currents behind the bus that actually suck, and they're trying to suck and try to slow the tractor transport backwards. And they try to overcome that variety of ways. So keeping the water on the blade is good. So that thick hole down the middle is actually good. So now I'm going to show you one more fin. I'm going to show you a very, very modern fin. There it is. What the heck is that? Now that may be one reason right off the bat why some divers don't modernize and they've still got their old CRT television, the great big long ones, and they're still using a cellular phone that's wired into the car. How many people do you know? I don't know, but they insist on hanging on to their old black rubber fin. This fin weighs virtually nothing. Virtually nothing. This fin is much lighter than these other all synthetic fins. And look at it. Yeah, it's got a hole there and a hole down here too. It sounds kind of silly. But let me show you a couple of things. First of all, let me show you that this fin does have ribs. 2 long ribs right down there for strength. And it also has those wing tips. They are designed to keep the water on the blade. So when you kick down, the water is trapped on the blade. And as you kick down, the water shoots off behind you, which is perfect, like a jet engine. And you go that way. Exactly right. In fact, these fins are incredibly efficient. You see here, can you see these slots in there? Can you see those there, Kevin? If you're one of those, if you're young, not like me, and you have strong legs, and you kick down, you're kicking down in your power stroke, sometimes you kick too hard. And what'll happen if you kick too hard? Water pours off the side, and that just slows you down. So what happens is you kick down too hard, this fin will bend. You see those slots? Can you see them disappearing? The fin actually bends. You see, kick too hard, the fin bends as you're going down. Now, what happens when you stop kicking, right? You put all that effort into this blade, and you're moving ahead, but you put so much effort in that the fin bent. Well, what happens when you get to the end of the kick, you get down to the bottom? Guess what happens? The blade straightens out, and it's still pushing water. You've stopped kicking, and the blade is still pushing you ahead. The effort you put in to bend the blade comes back at the end. Very, very efficient fins. In fact, they're so efficient. See this hole in the end here? A little slot and a hole right there in the end. That's there for a very good reason. Scuba Pro in particular, a very good company, and they spent a lot of time and money on product development and research. And as they were testing these fins in an air tunnel, I'm not sure if they call it an air tunnel, maybe it's a water tunnel, but they're testing them and they have flow running over the fin like this, and they can see, the engineers can look at it and they can see what's happening. And one of the engineers said, look right there, you see that turbulence right there? That's not good. That's slowing the diver down. That little hole in there gets rid of that bit of turbulence. Extremely efficient fin. Light and very, very efficient. And they have the rather nice rubber expansion straps, but that's not really the big point. So, let's go all the way back to this. This particular fin is flat, has no curve. What's the big deal? Why should a fin have a curve? Well, if you can picture your foot at the end of your leg, it's like this, sticking out like this. You can bend it out a little bit like so. If you have a perfectly flat fin on the end of your foot, the fin is like this. And now you're trying to kick like so. It simply is not the right direction. The fin is digging into the water. You want the fin to be flat like this. In order to get the fin flat, you have to have a fin with quite a nice curve. So your ankle is bending down like so, right? You only get your foot about like that. You put it into the fin like so. Now look, the fin's flat. The fin has to have that curve, or the fin will be bending down into the water. That's the reason for the curve. Also, this fin is a little bit, it's not long by any stretch. It's not as long as some of the other ones. So you can have a more compact fin and highly efficient, much lighter, easier to travel with than these old fins. Now let me finish up with this last little bit. Some people say to me, it doesn't matter about the weight of the fin, because underwater they're almost weightless. I said that myself, didn't I, a few minutes ago? So that sounds like a logical statement, doesn't it? It doesn't matter if the fin's big and heavy, because underwater it doesn't matter. Oh, yes, it does. Obviously, whoever said that is not a physics major. Let's go, watch. Here's your fin on your foot. You want to start finning. The fin at the moment is stopped, right? It's called inertia. It doesn't want to start moving. So you put effort in, you start to kick, and you get it moving, and you take your whole stroke. You get to the end of the stroke, now what do you want to do? You want to stop. But the fin now has momentum. You got rid of the inertia, overcame the inertia, got it moving, but now it has momentum. It wants to keep on going. You have to stop it. Okay, got it stopped. Now what's next? Now you have to restart it going up. Now the fin has inertia. It doesn't want to move. So you overcome the inertia, effort to overcome the inertia. You haven't started to move yet, so the effort you're putting in is not helping you move. It's overcoming the inertia of this heavy fin. Okay, you get her going. Good, okay, good, get up to the top. Now you want to stop it. Now you got to fight momentum. Get it stopped. Now you have to fight inertia. And you guess what the formula is for momentum and inertia? Velocity and weight. So something that's heavy and it still takes a lot of effort to get it moving. Inertia. It's big, it's heavy, and it still takes a lot of effort to get it moving. Now once you get it moving, that's cool, man. It keeps on moving. But then you want to stop it. It has momentum, and it's big and heavy. Because of the weight of this fin, it has a lot of momentum. It takes a lot of effort to stop it. Right? Every fin stroke, you have to overcome inertia twice, and you have to overcome momentum twice. And overcoming inertia and momentum takes effort, and that effort is directly related to the weight of the subject, of the object. So please, don't tell me that it doesn't matter how heavy they are. Yes, it does. When you're kicking up and stopping it, starting it, kicking down and stopping it, and then restarting it, the weight matters. So the weight does matter. It matters when you travel, it matters when you fin, and of course the newer fins are much, much more efficient. Now, for some of you fellows out there, you've seen this fin, this is white. Diana, my wife, and I, we use white. That fin right there. We have found that white fin is fantastic. It shows up better than anything else. It's better than bright yellow. It's better than high-vis yellow. It's better than international orange at night and low visibility. And we dive here in Canada where the visibility is not very good sometimes. In fact, the visibility often is zero. And we dive at night a great deal. This white fin is the best. I can always see Diana kicking in the white fin. But if you don't like white, you traditionalists, you guys, guess what? It comes in black. And then you guys out there that are not traditionalists and you want something a little different, it comes in pink too. Which is another bonus because black rubber comes in, right, black rubber. Anyway, there's a couple of things about performance of fins. Maybe there's something in there that you noticed that you didn't know before and you can check it out yourself and think about it. Don't take my word for everything. I have a lot of experience, but sometimes I don't know everything. Oh, trust me. The older I get, the more I realize what I don't know. Yeah, so look at it and think about it, the inertia, the momentum, and the physics of the fin and everything else. Maybe you have some comments and some questions, and maybe that opened your eyes a little bit. Maybe you learned something. I hope so. See you again real soon. Alec, Peirce, Scuba, Tech Tips.